I'm Sukai, and I'm the 2017 Camp Mendocino Youth of the Year. I've been a camper at Camp Mendocino for 10 years. I think it's important for youth to have access to places like Camp Mendocino because it's different from anything they experience in their everyday life, and they get to meet kids from completely different backgrounds than them. It's really important for kids to be exposed to as much diversity as possible. My dream is to go to a 4-year university after high school and get a degree in hospitality and tourism management. I really want to be an event planner. When someone comes from a really tough environment, dreams can give them a reason to keep going.
For as long as I can remember, my parents have been divorced, and I've been split between 2 houses. At times, I literally lived out of a suitcase because it wasn't worth it to unpack. I felt lost. Hi, I'm Sukai Crutchfield-Billinge, and I'm the 2017 Youth of the Year for Camp Mendocino. Having to constantly move between my parents' houses was really hard as a kid, and being an only child at the time made it even harder. I felt like no one understood exactly what I was going through, and so no one could help. I didn't feel like I had control over my own life. I didn't have a say in where I lived, I didn't have a say in where I spent my time, and I didn't feel like I had a home base. At Camp Mendocino, things were different. Camp was a place where I could depend on every year to take me in for the summer, and it's where I learned that I am important. I come from a long line of campgoers. My dad was a camper and a staff, and my mom was staff too. I didn't have a choice. I was going to Camp Mendocino no matter what. I first went to camp when I was 8 years old. I was really nervous because I didn't know anyone else there, and the 4-hour bus ride felt like it would never end. When I arrived, I quickly found that I loved everything about camp. I loved the activities, being in nature, the teepees, and I loved that I could run around all day and feel safe. But my favorite part of camp was the people. I easily made friends with the other campers, and I always made really deep connections with the staff. And every year, I couldn't wait to come back the next summer. Unfortunately, when I was 15 years old, I still felt lost. I had no idea who I was or where I belonged. Luckily, that was the year that I became a teen staff, or an LIT, and I got to work with my teen directors, Emma, Mikey, and Maddie. They were somewhere between parents and cool older siblings, and they made the LITs feel like family. They cared so much about me and the other LITs, and they were always on my side. They taught me how to be true to myself. Being an LIT not only gave me mentors, but also friends who, even though I had only known them for 10 days, I felt like I had known them my entire life, friends I could only have made at camp. Now, thanks to those relationships I made at camp, I am confident in who I am and who I want to be. Last summer, I got a note from Lily, who is 15 years old and an LIT for the first time. She told me that she's always looked up to me ever since she was a camper. Reading that note, I realized that I was stepping into Emma, Mikey, and Maddie's shoes, becoming an older sibling myself, a role model to the younger LITs. My experience as a leader at camp helped me realize that whatever I choose to do with my life, I want to help and be an inspiration to people. Camp was there for me when I needed it the most, and it taught me the most important lessons I've ever learned, that I belong, I do have control, and I can make a difference. Thank you.